This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys, welcome back to our personal finance videos. Now we're going to talk about your emergency fund. Okay, so we got you out of debt. You have your baby emergency fund of $1,000. Let's take the next step. According to Dave Ramsey's baby steps. I'm going to show you what that is exactly first. Then we can start talking about building wealth and investing. Let me go ahead and bring it up. Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Love him, love him, love him. Please follow him. He's amazing. All right, so baby step one, you have your starter emergency fund. This is to protect you from borrowing more money. Baby step two, we talked about the debt snowball. We talked about that in the other chapter. Next one is 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. Now we talked about online savings accounts, and savings accounts are your brick and mortar banks and what have you. Doesn't really matter where it is, but obviously online savings is probably your best bet to get a better rate of return. But again, you want something that you have access to. So again, like something with an ATM card where you have access or you can transfer the money right away because life happens, right? We all know sometimes terrible things can happen or good things can happen. Let's say your wife is pregnant and you need some cash to pay for those medical bills and she can't work anymore. You'll be glad you have your emergency fund. What's the rule of thumb? 3 to 6 months of expenses. So we know we broke down your expenses, right? Through your budget. Well, you want to do 3 to 6 months of that. So what does that mean? If you spend every month $2,000, 3 times 2 is 6,000, or 6 to 12,000 for 6 months. 12,000 for 6 months. So again, how do we get there? You got to have the budget, just like the 50, 40, what was it, 50, 30, 20 rule, right? We talked about that. Really want to attack that savings. Don't get into investing it until you have your emergency savings, because the last thing we want you to do is to sell any stocks because you need the money. Sell stocks when you want to, not when you need to. Don't sell assets because you have to. It's only when you have to, only because you want to. It's a big difference, guys. So again, this is a quick chapter, 36 months of expenses. We already know the savings balance and the savings calculator. Again, I'm showing you again. The 3 to 6 months, guys, keeps you a buffer between you and life. Bad things happen in life, guys. Terrible things happen in life. Sometimes you get hurt at work, you get sick and you can't work. You need a new car, the transmission goes out. How expensive are car repairs? We know this. You need a new starter. You need to get a new transmission done. Kids are very expensive, obviously. Things that are not part of emergency savings. A sale at the store is not an emergency. Christmas shopping is not an emergency. Going out to dinner is not an emergency. That needs to be budgeted. Savings account, your 3 to 6 months of expenses needs to be saved for you as a buffer between you and life. So when bad things happen, you don't freak out. And what's the first thing you do if you need cash right away, right? And you don't have a savings? You're going to go back into debt. You're going to use that credit card. You're going to go do paycheck advances, payroll advances. No, no, no. Or the worst thing, borrow from your 401k. No, 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 none of that. Savings, 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 emergency savings. That should be your protection from the world. You're going to feel a lot better when you wake up in the morning and you check your bank account and you have a nice amount there of about $8,000, $7,000, because it turns minor inconveniences into minor inconveniences, not emergencies. It turns emergencies into minor inconveniences. Well, let's say your transmission goes out. You're not freaking out when you have $10,000 in savings, right? And the mechanic's bill is $1,000. You're not freaking out. Thank God. You don't have to borrow money to do that. You don't have to get into debt to do that. What keeps your credit score up, keeps your finances in order, and you just have to write a check from your savings to your checking, and then you're all set. So again, this is the beginning. Now we're getting to the stages that you're really mastering now. You know exactly how banking works. You have your bank account set up. You have your budget set up. You have your baby emergency savings. You're out of debt, right? Now we're getting into it. Now we're going to get into 3 to 6 months of savings. Now we can start building into wealth because you already have no debt. You have some savings. You're budgeted. You're rocking and roll. You're a rock star. So again, 3 to 6 months of expenses according to the baby steps. Thank you so much, Dave Ramsey. We're going to skip the baby step 4 and all that stuff. We're going to go over the next step. So we're just kind of borrowing the ideas of Mr. Ramsey and moving forward. So 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you spend $2,000 a month on expenses, you need 3 months of that. 3 times 2 is $6,000 to $12,000 in savings in cash, not in a CD, not in stocks, in cash, a cash savings account. As always, that's your best bet. You need to have access to this money. Do not buy stock with this money. Your emergency savings is not an investment. Forget how much interest you're going to earn. You're going to probably earn maybe 1%. Who cares? It's just meant to protect you from bad things that happen in your life. And they will happen, guys. Your transmission will go out. You need new tires. Something will come up in your life. But you know what? Your savings will be that buffer, they'll be that protector, it'll be your body armor from bad things happening to you. It will turn emergencies into small inconveniences, and you'll be like, no problem, I got this, I got the cash. So 3 to 6 months of expenses, quick video, keep that in mind. As always, that should be the next step in your wealth building. Next, finally, we're gonna get into some fun stuff, right? We're gonna get into investing on autopilot. Now, this one's really fun. You're gonna love this next chapter. We'll catch you for the next one, guys.